Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in today. We're diving into a pretty serious topic: scams in Australia and the lack of compensation for victims.
It's, super important to talk about this because scams are such a huge issue right now. And, a lot of people are suffering without any support. So, let's get into it. Right now, there's no mandatory compensation for scam victims in Australia. I mean, can you believe that? It's wild when you compare it to the UK model, where they have more robust protections in place.
Here, it feels like the victims are left to fend for themselves, which is, really tough. The Australian government has recently been looking into this.
There's a Senate committee report on the Scams Prevention Framework Bill 2024, and both Labor and Coalition members seem to support it. But here's the kicker: there haven't been any amendments to actually include compensation for victims.
It's frustrating, right? Consumer groups have been, super vocal about their disappointment. They're saying that a big stick approach is necessary to hold companies accountable.
It's really a David and Goliath situation for everyday Australians who are just trying to protect themselves. You can feel the anger and frustration from these groups. It's palpable. And let's talk numbers for a second.
Australia has been labeled the world's honeypot for scammers. In 2023 alone, Australians lost a staggering $2.74 billion to scams. That's an insane amount, and the existing protections, they're just inconsistent.
It's like a patchwork that leaves so many people vulnerable. Now, the proposed Scams Prevention Framework does introduce some new measures, which is a step in the right direction.
There are options for internal and external dispute resolution, but still, no mandatory compensation mechanisms. That's just, really disappointing. Victims face a ton of challenges, too.
The compensation process is super complicated, and many end up in lengthy legal battles that can feel hopeless. The Consumer Action Law Centers have pointed out how burdensome the current scheme is for victims. It's a lot to handle when you're already dealing with the emotional aftermath of being scammed, and then there's the industry response. Banks and tech firms are, shifting blame onto each other, which is, honestly, infuriating.
There needs to be a collaborative approach to consumer protection. It's like they're all in it together, but they're not acting like it. Interestingly, there's been a notable decrease in scam losses recently, which is a small silver lining.
But, the government is still calling on Parliament to support these new laws. It's we need to do better for victims, and we need to see stronger consumer protections in place.
So, what do we take away from all this? Well, it's clear we need to prioritize victims' rights. There's a real need for lawmakers to step up and create more consumer-focused legislation moving forward. It's like a call to action for all of us to advocate for change. I know it's a heavy topic, but, it's cathartic to talk about it. It's intense and freeing to voice these frustrations.
And honestly, I'm grateful for moments like this where we can come together and raise awareness. So, if you found this video helpful or it resonated with you, please subscribe, and drop a comment below.
Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care, and let's keep pushing for change together.